What's up guys, Artem MMA Analysis here, going to be talking about Dana White's Contender Series week number 9. I'm still sick. I've actually got something called strep throat, which is kind of messed up low-key, but I'm still making the video for you guys. It's going to be a little bit quicker than normal just because I am sick, and I don't know, I don't think you guys really want to listen to sick me for too long. It has already been delayed 2 days. I normally make my Dana White's Contender Series prediction videos much sooner, but the good news is now that it's been delayed so long, we actually do have odds to talk about, and the odds on at least one of these fights, in my opinion, is super wide. Maybe even should be flipped the other way, but we're gonna get into the card, man. I think it's a good card for Dana White's Contender Series week number 9. So the first fight of the night is Ichiri versus Filho, and I will just remind you guys once more, this is going to be a very quick prediction because I'm sick. I can't go too long without coughing, man. Let's race it. So, yeah, I'm going to be picking Filho in this matchup here. What are the odds telling us? The odds are telling us Filho is minus 235. Very interesting. I think maybe Ichiri is a guy that could fight for your money, but the level of competition this guy is fighting is not fantastic whatsoever. He fought a guy early on in his career who was 2-15, and he fought a guy that was 3-0, sorry, and then beat him. But then he fought the same guy again, who was 2-17 at the time, and beat him, and then an 0-2 guy, and then 12-8, and he fought him to a split decision, which is a little bit concerning, I guess you could say, but he does have a pretty good striking skill set, and he does have quite a bit of power for the flyweight division. It's going to be worth noting this fight is at 125, not 135, like these two have last fought somewhat recently anyway. For Filho, his last fight was 8 months ago, but his last fight before that was over 3 years ago against Vinicius Salvador, who has now actually made his way into the UFC through Dana White's Contender Series this year, and he's a very powerful guy at 125, which is interesting because Filho is really hittable on the feet. This guy's hands are somewhat low, and he's just easily hit, you know what I mean? He doesn't seem to have the best gas tank either. Ichiri, we have seen him go the distance in his last fight, and he didn't look too bad there, but I think as long as the fight is on the feet, Ichiri can be a danger, but I think that Filho will look to try and get this fight to the ground, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think if the fight does get to the mat, that's where Ichiri is going to be in a little bit of trouble, so I'm going to pick Filho to win. Probably by submission. I think he should be able to get the job done by taking him down, but Ichiri, man, the level of competition this guy has fought is very concerning to me. But the skill set is there, you know what I mean? He's looking good in those fights for the most part. I mean, he did fight a guy that was 12-8 to a split decision recently, which is a bit of a red flag, but Filho hasn't fought very often at all. I think he should get the fight to the mat and get a submission off this one here, but it's a tough fight to call, man. It really is, especially with the odds being so wide as well. Maybe the underdog could bark in this matchup here, but I'm going to be going with Filho. And in this next one, you've got Nurullo Aliyev taking on Josh Wick, a very short notice fight for both guys. I think Nurullo Aliyev was given a little bit more notice for the bout, but Josh Wick has taken the fight on about a week's notice, which is very interesting considering it is going to be at 155 pounds, so it's a pretty good division to get into, one of the most stacked divisions in the UFC, and I think that Nurullo Aliyev doesn't have the most Dana White's Contender Series friendly style, and because he's won 5 fights by decision, 1 by TKO due to the corner stepping in after the second round, and he's going to be an almost minus 500 favorite coming into this matchup as well, which is taxed quite a bit in my opinion, because well, to be fair though, Nurullo Aliyev probably should win this matchup. He is by pick. He does have good wrestling and he does use it. He doesn't just kind of strike to wrestle, he just wrestles, within the first 30 seconds of his last fight against Kirill Kurikov. He went for a takedown, took him down, spent the whole first round against the cage kind of just working Kurikov with ground control. That's kind of all he does really. And when it's on his feet though, Aliyev's hands are so low. His hands are very low. He does have a pretty good jab, but he's not too dangerous on the feet. And I think if Josh Wick doesn't respect the stand-up of Aliyev, maybe Wick could land something. Like I saw Wick in his last matchup. Sorry guys, I'm sick. This is going to be a very quick video. Against Kane Carrizosa. He destroyed Kane's legs, man. He chopped them up real bad, finished him off with ground and pound at the very end of the first round. Adam Asensa went on a 6-fight win streak after Josh Wick beat him as well 3 years ago, so that's a pretty good win to have on your record as well. Josh Wick's most recent fight, though, is very, very hard to find, but you can find it on the Fierce Fighting Championship website under a pay-per-view, but you don't actually have to pay for it if you use this code when you go to play it. Just letting you guys know if you wanted to watch it. It's a great fight. Chris Curtis is on commentary. I'm going to leave it there. Sorry, I'm coughing a lot. Nurul Aliyev should win a decision using his wrestling. It shouldn't be very exciting, but I think that Josh Wick is going to have some success on the feet for sure, as long as the fight lasts on the feet. But I think Aliyev's going to take him down and work. Because it's Contender Series, he might be a little bit more aggressive than he normally is. But I'm very interested to see what Dana White says at the end, because Aliyev does not have a very Dana White's Contender Series friendly style. He doesn't have the most exciting style in the world, to be fair. But he's young. He's not even 23 years old. He's a great prospect. I think that he could do something. He just doesn't have the most fun style to impress Dana White, to be fair. Alright, I've taken a little break. Just a reminder, these are very quick predictions because I'm not feeling 100%. So, Austin Lane versus Richard Jacoby. Gonna be going with Austin Lane in this one, and he is a slight favourite as well in this matchup. Minus 200 favourite. I think that is a pretty fair line. It's very weird that Richard Jacoby is getting an opportunity for Dana White's Contender Series because he's coming off a draw, and it's a draw where it was 29-28 in favour of Thiago Silva. And even then, it was because Thiago Silva got a points deducted, it ended up being a draw. So he actually technically lost that fight, but because of the point deduction, it was a draw. Yeah, weird one. But even then, Richard Jacoby, he's not fighting the greatest competition. Before, he fought Thiago Silva, who was 4-0 at the time. Good test, I would say. He fought a guy that's 22-22, 0-3, 2-0, and 0-1, you know what I mean? He's not testing the same guys. And Austin Lane, he's the guy that got knocked out by... what's his name? I forgot his name. Greg Hardy, way back in the day in his debut, and since then he has actually made a lot of improvements. So he's been on Dana White's Contender Series back in 2018. He's worked pretty hard to get back, and he's on a nice little 5-fight win streak, including a win over former UFC fighter, current PFL fighter Juan Adams, which is a pretty good win, I'd say. And Austin Lane, just in my opinion, should get the win by KO in this matchup here. He's just more explosive, he's more athletic, he's pretty old, even for a heavyweight, but I think that he still definitely has a couple of wins in the UFC left in him, you know what I mean? I think he can make something happen in this division. Going with Lane by KO. Jacoby isn't as impressive. Lane is more explosive and more athletic. I'm sorry, that was a sub 2 minute prediction, but as I said, I'm feeling sick right now, so it's just quick ones, man. It's quick ones today. And now you've got Hal Rosas Jr. versus Mando Gutierrez, and Hal Rosas Jr. is gonna be the talk of the town all week building up to this fight, and if he wins, he's gonna be the talk of the town for a long time. This guy is 17 years old, almost 18 years old, but he's 17 years old. His parents have to give him permission to fight on Dana White's Contender Series. That's how young this guy is. It's actually so crazy. Like, I'm 20 years old, man, and like, what am I doing, you know? Like, wow. I'm real happy for him, man. Hal Rosas Jr., he's really destroying all of his opponents. He does have a little bit of an amateur record, and he has gone on a little win streak himself. Little fun fact about Hal Rosas Jr., he comes from the fighting family. His sister actually made her a professional MMA debut against Mackenzie Dern. So that's a little fun fact. And Hal Rosas' father also did go, I think he had a professional career, but it was very unsuccessful. I think he had a losing record before he retired. But point is, Hal Rosas Jr., he's been fighting all of his life. He's been doing jiu-jitsu tournaments all of his life. And you see it, man. This guy's got good wrestling, he's got good grappling, and he does not spend much time on the feet whatsoever. And I think that's probably a good thing, because I do think Mando Gutierrez here is the better striker out of the two. He's definitely the guy that spent more time on the feet, because Hal Rosas Jr., he just takes his opponents down straight away. That's kind of his game plan, which is fair, and he's just been running through them. But to be fair, he's not fighting this level competition that Mando Gutierrez is. We'll get to that later. 0-1 debut. 0-0 makes sense, you know. 1-0 at the time, that's all good. 2-0 is all good, and then he fought a guy that was 0-2. It's all good though, but like, the level of competition just ain't the same as Mando, who is 7-1 right now. He did lose to Mo Miller. He did get dominated by Mo Miller in the wrestling and grappling in that fight, but it was a couple of years ago. 3-1, 4-4, and 4-1. So I guess he's not fighting the highest level of competition either. But yeah, I'm picking Hal Rosas Jr. He's also the favourite as well, minus 150, and I'm very surprised. I'm picking Hal Rosas Jr., by the way, tentatively. But I'm very surprised he's the favourite. I thought Mando Gutierrez would be the favourite in this matchup here. I think Rosas Jr. takes him down and actually gets a submission. Believe it or not, I think that he does get a finish here. But Carlos Jr., he's looked so dominant in all of his fights. It's pretty hard to pick against. Or just give you guys negatives on him. He just goes to grapple and has good jiu-jitsu. That's kind of what he does. He really does just grapple. Gutierrez, though, he's a pretty good fighter. He's a good striker, but he doesn't have the greatest takedown defense. He is very good when he's on top of his opponents, but when his opponents end up on top of him, that's where he could come into some problems, which is, I think, where Carlos Jr. is going to be able to not dominate the fight, but look very good. I think Carlos Jr. is going to get a very early takedown and work for the first round. But maybe if Mando can survive a first round, maybe even late into the second round, we could see Carlos slow down potentially, because he is just 17 years old. You know what I mean? It's actually quite insane. But yeah, I think he should win. I'm picking the 17-year-old. A lot of red flags, including the fact that he is 17. But I'm picking him to win. I'm really happy for him, man. Like I'm a little bit worried though. Like, this guy's so young, literally 17 years old. If he gets to sign to the UFC at this stage of his career, it could be too much too soon. I think the UFC should give him a developmental deal and like just kind of keep giving him winnable fights. Maybe build up his confidence, build up his record, and then when he's a little bit older, he can sign to the UFC. I don't know. I'm not opposed to signing a 17-year-old to the UFC, but I think it's a little bit too much too soon, in my opinion. But the skill set's there, it really is. I'm picking Carlos Jr. In the main event, you've got Leon Aliu versus Bruno Ferreira, and it's a tough matchup to call, man, because both guys have a 100% finish rate. Leon Aliu has 10 wins by finish. Bruno Ferreira has 8 wins by finish. So, you know that Gianni the Greek's betting fight goes the distance for sure. But yeah, I'm going to be picking Bruno Ferreira. I'm a little bit tentative though, because both guys are pretty sloppy on the feet. I would say that Bruno isn't a technical striker, but he's definitely more technical than Aliu. And I would also maybe give the grappling advantage to Ferreira as well. He's got a black belt in judo, a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu as well, and did just look a little bit more impressive in the tape that I was watching. It is worth noting that I'm not very confident in this pick. It really could go either way. Aliu's obviously got that KO power and submission ability. He's got great guillotines as well, by the way. Knocked out James Webb recently. Knocked out a guy with a losing record, but he's got a few guillotines, does that Aliu. But Bruno Ferreira, coming off a KO winner for a guy that was 10-3, KO'd a guy that was 33-18, KO, submission, and submission as well. I'm going to pick Bruno Ferreira to win inside the distance. I mean, everyone's picking KO, but this guy's got good grappling as well. We might even see that. But I think this is a matchup between two guys. They could get a finish. Either side, Aliu could throw and land with something big, or even catch a guillotine from Ferreira if he looks for some sort of takedown and he isn't aware of the guillotine. Or even Bruno Ferreira can get a KO, or he can get a submission. Like, there's literally this fight. This fight is just the fight won't go the distance, and someone's getting finished. I genuinely do believe that. This could age badly and the fight could go the distance. But with the evidence that we've got, which is a 100% finish rate from both guys, I think it's pretty fair to say the fight doesn't go. 6 wins by KO for Aliu, 4 by submission for him. For Bruno Ferreira, he's got 5 wins by KO, 3 by submission. So, pretty safe to say the fight might not go the distance. I think it's going to be a banger. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a little bit sloppy on the feet. It is. But I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm going to go with Ferreira to win the matchup as well. Alright, so that's it. That's it for week number 9. It's a tough one for me. Obviously, I'm sick. Real quick predictions and all that. But, yeah. I'll see you in week 10. Hopefully, I'm feeling way better by then. I'm looking forward to it.